Fresh off years of studying abroad, I returned to my hometown with a refined resume and a quiet determination to carve out a stable career. After polishing my portfolio and enduring grueling back interviews at several top tier firms, I finally advanced to the final round at a highly prestigious company, one known for its rigorous selection and elite corporate culture. My hands trembled slightly as I adjusted my blazer and knocked on the interview room, or I'd worked tirelessly to reach this stage, and I refused to let nerves ruin my chance. When I stepped inside, the air seemed to freeze around me. Seated behind the sleek mahogany desk, exuding an aura of quiet authority, was the interviewer in C. Lue, Mike's boyfriend whom had parted ways with 5 long years ago. Time seemed to stand still. His features had sharpened with maturity, his gaze colder and more penetrating than I remembered, yet I would have recognized those eyes anywhere. He remained utterly composed, his tone crisp and impersonal as he instructed me to introduce myself. A wave of crippling embarrassment washed over me, my throat went dry. My palms began to sweat, and I seriously considered turning on my heel and fleeing the room immediately. Lue's fingers tapped lightly, rhythmically, on the polished desk surface, a silent, unyielding reminder that this was business, not nostalgia. Then he dropped his offer, an annual salary of 500,000 yuan, plus performance bonuses, housing subsidies, and other generous benefits. The allure of such a package vanquished my urge to quit in an instant. I took a deep breath, centered myself, and delivered my introduction with steady confidence, showcasing my solid professional skills, overseas expertise, and project experience with poise and clarity. Sure, midway through the interview, his tone shifted abruptly, edged with thinly veiled sarcasm. At 27, he asked, his gaze piercing. Do you plan to marry soon? The subtext was unmistakable. He was still bitter about the way it left him without a second thought all those years ago. My chest tightened, but I kept my voice calm as I replied that I was single and had no immediate plans to settle down. He did not press the issue further, merely nodded and informed me crisply that I could start work the very next day. Once I officially joined the company, I threw myself into my role, embracing a busy, fulfilling routine. I collaborated smoothly with my colleagues, earned respect for my work ethic, and gradually settled into the fast-paced corporate environment. Around the office, I often heard swirling rumors about Lue. Some admired his ruthless efficiency and business acumen, while others whispered that he showed no interest in romantic relationships, even speculating he might not be interested in women at all. I found the gossip quietly amusing but kept my past with him locked away tight. Office romances were risky enough. A secret history with the CEO was a minefield I had no intention of stepping into. Not long afterward, I tested positive for COVID-19, feverish and weak. I isolated myself alone in my rental apartment, my body aching and my spirit low. I posted a lighthearted self-pitying message on social media, joking that I felt utterly miserable. I drifted in and out of a feverish sleep, my head throbbing. When I finally aroused myself, groggy and disoriented, I was shocked to find Lue sitting quietly beside my bed tending to me. He helped me prop myself up against the pillows, his movements surprisingly gentle, and fed me warm congee. I pouted childishly, complaining that the congee was bland and that I craved crispy chicken legs instead. A faint softness entered his eyes as he promised quietly that he'd take me to satisfy that craving as soon as I recovered. The familiar, comforting scent of his cologne wrapped around me like a blanket, easing my restlessness, and I drifted back into sleep. In my dreams, I traveled back 9 years to the chaotic, thrilling esports tournament where I disguised myself as a boy to replace my twin brother. It locked eyes with Lu Wei across the arena and fallen in love at first sight. I relived the dizzying joy of our secret romance, followed by the messy, overwhelming frenzy when online fans began shipping my brother with him, instead chaos that had strained our bond long before the final breakup. When I woke again, I realized my hand was resting lightly on Lu Wei's arm, and Dick babbled incoherent, affectionate words in my sleep. I buried my burning face under the covers, mortified, stunned by how he even gotten into my apartment. I learned that my best friend had quietly given him my door password, worried about me being sick alone, over a simple dinner. I accidentally overheard a private phone call between Lu Wei and his father. In that conversation, my heart skipped a beat as I heard him admit that he stayed single all these years because he could never forget me. When I mustered the courage to ask why he'd come all this way to care for me, he revealed that we lived in the same residential community, that my rental apartment had been arranged by my best friend on his orders. A wave of guilt and regret crashed over me. I apologized, voice thick with emotion, for leaving him without a proper goodbye 5 years ago. Lu Wei's expression hardened slightly, and he replied stiffly that the past was in the past from now on. We would maintain a strictly professional superior minus subordinate relationship. Yet, everything changed at a company team minus building dinner. As alcohol flowed and laughter filled the private room, colleagues teased Lu Wei relentlessly about his own marriage plans. With a casual, nonchalant air, he replied soon. Those 2 words felt like a knife to my heart. I forced a smile, lifted my glass, and offered a toast to congratulate him. Before I could take a sip, though, Lu Wei reached over and wrapped his hand firmly around mine, stopping me. His voice was low and tender. Impossible to misinterpret. You shouldn't drink, he said. You've only just recovered from illness. His obvious public tenderness sent a ripple of whispers and curious glances around the table. After the dinner, Lu Wei appeared intoxicated, and my colleagues insisted that I be the one to take him home. When we reached the gates of our community, however, he seemed to sober up instantly. He turned to me, his eyes dark with years of suppressed pine and anger, and confessed that he hated me for a long time, hated that it left without explanation, without a trace. Then, before I could react, he leaned in and kissed me, flustered and overwhelmed. I pushed him away abruptly and fled back to my apartment, my heart racing and my emotions in complete turmoil. I knew in that moment that my resolve to keep things professional was shattered. The next day, Lu Wei's father requested a private meeting with me. With a heavy, remorseful tone, he confessed the truth. 5 years ago, he had been the one who forced me to leave Lu Wei in exchange for using his influence to help my brother and me escape relentless blackmail from a greedy relative. Now, he said, he no longer opposed our relationship. He deeply regretted his past actions and begged me to give Lu Wei and each other a second chance. Tragically, just as he finished speaking, Lu Wei walked in and overheard the tail end of the conversation, misunderstanding that he'd colluded with his father to manipulate him. He turned on his heel and stormed out in a white-hot rage. I finally poured out the whole truth to my best friend after our parents' untimely death. Our uncle had stolen their compensation money and subjected my brother and me to years of cruel extortion. We had been powerless to fight back, until Mr. Lu had stepped in, offering to protect us on the condition that I end things with Lu Wei forever. With my best friend's unwavering encouragement, I made up my mind to stop running and pursue Lu Wei actively. I brought him his favorite breakfast every morning, orchestrated gentle, casual encounters around the office, and with the quiet help of supportive colleagues, the rift between us slowly began to heal. Soon after, my brother held a traditional feast to celebrate his newborn son. I traveled back to my hometown, only to discover that Lu Wei was also there, invited by my brother, who'd been plotting to reunite us all along. In the middle of the joyful gathering, my uncle stormed in uninvited, determined to cause trouble and hurl humiliating insults at me. Without a moment's hesitation, Lu Wei stepped forward, called the police immediately, and publicly declared that I was his girlfriend. His voice firm and protective as he defended me from every cruel word. Overwhelmed by relief and emotion, I drank too much that night and threw my arms around Lu Wei, clinging to him like a lifeline. When I woke up the next morning, we finally sat down and bared our souls to each other. I confessed that I'd never stopped loving him, not for a single day in those 5 lost years. Lu Wei's eyes glistened as he admitted he felt the same. His anger had always been a mask for his heartbreak. We officially reconciled, our love rekindled stronger than ever. Seeing us reunited, my brother laughed and urged us to get married soon. Without a moment's hesitation, Lu Wei agreed, promising to transfer all his assets as a betrothal gift, vowing to give me the security and love it always deserved. After the National Day holiday, I stumbled upon one final, stunning revelation. Lu Wei was the actual landlord of my rental apartment. From the very beginning, HED planned every detail, arranging the apartment, guiding me to his company, watching over me quietly from the shadows. From Lu Wei's perspective, my sudden departure 5 years ago had shattered his world. Heartbroken and adrift, HED built his company from the ground up, pouring his energy into success while spending years tirelessly searching for me. Eventually, HED uncovered the full, heartbreaking truth about why I'd left. HED arranged for my best friend to rent me the apartment at a low price, kept a careful eye on me after I joined the company, and hid his lingering love behind a cold professional facade. At my brother's feast, HED let go of every last ounce of resentment and chosen to stand by me, unconditionally. Finally, at the company's grand annual commendation ceremony, in front of all employees, Lu Wei had prepared a breathtaking, carefully orchestrated surprise. Dropping to one knee beneath the bright lights, he held out a ring and proposed to me solemnly, his voice filled with love and conviction. "We'd lost 5 precious years apart," he said, "but for the rest of our lives, he would spend every day making up for that lost time with all his love, loyalty, and unwavering companionship." Through tears of joy, I said yes.